Another Disney Plus show. Obi-Wan Kenobi sees the return of both Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. It tells the story of Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi watching over young Luke Skywalker and evading the Empire's elite Jedi hunters during his exile on the desert planet Tatooine. Now I, like many others, was very much so looking forward to this show. When you have the return of such legendary characters, you got Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, and you have Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen returning to reprise those roles. You have a lot of potential here to tell a great and compelling story that will reunite the Star Wars fandom, or so we can hope. But I found that what we got with the show was just serviceable enough. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed a good majority of it, but in the end, I still was left feeling underwhelmed. Now I think the best part about the show, to no one's surprise, really is the return of these familiar faces. It was great to see Ewan back in the role. It doesn't really feel like a day has passed since 2005. Immediately once you see him on screen, you go, that's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Hayden Christensen as well, you still very much so feel the rivalry between these two characters. And when talking about that rivalry, you're gonna have some epic lightsaber battles. And I feel like on that level, this show delivered. Whether it's the big duel that the show has been leading up to in the final episode, or the other minor battles that are sprinkled throughout. I gotta say the sound design in those scenes is immaculate, and you just think to yourself, wouldn't it be so cool to use a lightsaber? And going back to the new and familiar characters, what was a surprise at the beginning of the show was that the show was gonna heavily have young Leia in it. And I personally thought that Vivian Blair in the role of young Leia was pretty good. I think her performance got way too much hate. What she brought to the role fit the Leia character. I feel like Blair captured that spunky nature of the character. It did remind me of Carrie Fisher's performance. And that's all you can really ask for, I feel. And Moses Ingram as Reva, I think the absolute hate that you got was pathetic. Because while I wasn't the biggest fan of her character, I think that she brought a lot to the role. She gives a powerful performance. Her character has depth and she elevates that to another level. My main issue with just her character was her involvement in the show. I have no problem with the character or the actress, but it did feel like Reva and Obi-Wan were fighting for the spotlight. There were these two stories that, while were intertwined, I think Reva could have deserved her own show, rather than just kind of fighting for the spotlight with Obi-Wan. When it comes to the episodes of the show themselves, I feel like the show started off fairly rough and slow, but was able to stick the landing in the latter half. I felt myself get more invested in the show as it went on, for sure. For me, the show just focused too much on rescuing Leia. And like I mentioned, the stuff with Reva, a good chunk of the show is dedicated to just rescuing Leia. She gets captured, Obi-Wan has to go rescue her. And while yes, there is that nice connection between Obi-Wan and Leia, what I really wanted out of the show was a exploration of Obi-Wan's demons after losing this such big part of his life. He lost Anakin to the dark side. What does that do to a person who feels like they failed? Obi-Wan obviously mentored Anakin. What happens to Obi-Wan's mental health? He has this big connection to Anakin. He was Anakin's leader. You may even call him his best friend. But then once he gets turned to the dark side, how does Kenobi deal with all of that? The show picks up with him as a very broken person, and he kind of finds his redemption in rescuing Leia. But I wish the show would have dove more into Obi-Wan's demons, fighting with those demons while also dealing with this Vader wanting to come back and have a rematch. I would just prefer a different direction to take the show. Honestly, this show could have worked as a movie too. If this was an epic movie and you titled it Obi-Wan Kenobi, this would have been like $1 billion movie. And as for the finale of the show, like I mentioned, I did feel the show stuck the landing. Started off fairly weak, but was able to finish strong. And there are a bunch of moments in the finale that die-hard Star Wars fans will love. And one moment in particular that had me overwhelmed with joy. But sometimes you can still have a good finale, but it doesn't necessarily save the rest of the show for you. And that's what I felt with Obi-Wan Kenobi. There were little glimpses of greatness in this show. For the most part, I enjoyed my time with it, but do I ever care to revisit it? Maybe not. And I was just left wanting more. I'm gonna give Obi-Wan Kenobi a C+. It's a solid 3-star show. I would recommend it to you, but I do think a majority of Star Wars fans will be disappointed with this one. But thank you so much for watching this review, and if you did enjoy it, consider giving it a like as well as subscribing and hitting that notification bell to get notified whenever new videos like this go live. As always, look forward to more videos coming soon. My name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.